Yo, what's going on guys? Chase the Bro here, and welcome back to another Dark Souls 3 build video. In today's episode, we're going to be showcasing my Regeneration build. That's right guys, I know you've been requesting it a lot, and I finally got around to making one. I tried my best to make this build viable for PvP, meaning that I didn't use all the regeneration items that I could have, because no one's going to allow you to cast 3 different buffs at the beginning of the game. So I tried to keep it to 2. But if I had been able to use 3 without someone interrupting me, I would have been able to regenerate 23 HP per second. But because they only allowed me to use 2 different ones before starting battle with me, I got it to 17 HP per second, which is pretty decent in my opinion. As you guys know, my favorite types of weapons are dual-wielding weapons, so I tried to incorporate that into this build. But not just because it's my favorite, honestly because the swords themselves work really well with this build. You're able to use the L1, L2, R2 as a combo to regenerate health with the Pontiff's left eye, which gives you an instant 30 HP, and it's pretty simple to get that combo off. I also wanted to create a build that was viable without the use of the regeneration, so even though it is focused around HP regeneration, the build itself works completely fine without them. You do some pretty heavy damage with the blessed weapon on the sellsword twin blades, so you don't have to rely entirely on the health regeneration. Let's be realistic, there are going to be some matches that last longer than a minute depending on your opponent. If they're the turtling type or the type that back away from you the entire fight, then your regeneration spells and your buffs are probably going to go off. And if you don't get the chance to reuse them, then I wanted to make sure that the build itself was powerful on its own. And it definitely is, guys. But now let's focus on the regeneration aspect of the build, because that is the entire purpose of this build. So I'm wearing the Sun Princess ring and the Blessed Infused Cestus because they both regenerate 2 HP per second. I'm using the Blessed Weapon buff because with 150 spell buff, it regenerates 3 HP per second. And finally, at the beginning of each of my matches, I use the Bountiful Sunlight Miracle, which regenerates 10 HP per second, giving me a grand total of 17 HP regeneration per second. Which is pretty amazing because a lot of the times when I'm fighting, I'll end the match with my health bar completely full. And it's not because my opponent didn't touch me or do a lot of damage. It's because the build itself is so amazing and you regenerate so much health throughout the battle. Especially if you manage to land a couple combos with the Pontiff's left eye equipped, you regenerate insanely fast. There is a way to push the regeneration one step further if you're willing to use 3 buffs before the start of a match. All you need to do is get yourself a chime that has the Gentle Prayer weapon art, and then once you cast that, you'll get an extra 6 HP regeneration per second, which will give you a whopping total of 23 HP regeneration per second. Which I have to admit is pretty enticing, and I'm going to admit that I did do that on more than one occasion, just I felt a little bit odd using 3 buffs while my opponent waited looking at me. I felt like I was getting a little bit too overpowered, so I feel like 2 buffs is fair. This build has quickly become my favorite build to use because it incorporates my favorite weapons, and it gives me the added bonus of regenerating health the entire match, so there's really no downside to using this build in my opinion, guys. I haven't come across a certain weapon type or a certain build that it's weak against, because if they turtle away from you, you're still regenerating health the entire time. So regardless of if your heals all run out, you're going to have a full health bar by the time they begin fighting you. So you're in a win-win situation no matter what. I can't think of a situation that is kind of deterrent to you. But I'm going to bring you on over to my stats now, guys, so you can see how I achieved this monster of a build. As for my stat layout, you're going to need 35 faith, because Bountiful Sunlight requires 35 faith. And I could have put more points into faith if I wanted to regenerate more HP from my Blessed Weapon buff, but I felt 3 HP per second was decent compared to 4 had I got my spell buff to 200. I would have wasted a lot of stat points that way, so that's why I kept it at 35. Of course you need 40 dexterity because you are using the sellsword twin blades, which scale directly off dexterity, and you're going to get the best damage returns by hitting the soft cap. If you can put more points into the dexterity if you wish, but your damage returns are going to be pretty pathetic, so your stat points are better used elsewhere. I also have 24 attunement, but you really only need 18 to have 3 spell slots to use the Bountiful Sunlight and the Blessed Weapon. I just had the 4th slot because I was testing out a couple different miracles, and at the time I was using medium heal, but I never once used it in PvP because I regenerated so much health on my own from my build. But I thought a heal would be a nice addition to a regeneration build, right? But you probably won't even need to use it, so I'd just probably recommend 18 attunement. And with the rest of my stat points, I just balance them out between endurance and vigor. I find when I'm using any type of dual-wielding weapon, other than the Paradise Greatswords, but the sellswords or the Godhards, they consume a small amount of stamina for the combo that you get off, so I only ever need 20 endurance. That's very easy for me. And because of the minimal points that I wasted into faith and endurance, I had a huge health pool because I wanted my regeneration character to have a huge health pool. You want to regenerate tons of health, and you want to have tons of health. It's kind of the point of the build. Also, I'd like to add in that I did start as the Deprived class, so that's why I have 10 stats across the board. I feel like the Mercenary might have been a better choice because it starts with 16 Dexterity, 10 Strength, 10 Intelligence. The only downside is you would get 8 Faith to start off with, so you would need 2 more points allocated that way, but you'd get this 6 extra Dexterity, so it might be worth it. Actually, no, it's better to start as the Mercenary. You get 16 Dex and 12 attunements, so you would have extra stat points. But that's pretty much it for my stat layout, guys, so I'm going to bring you on over to my equipment. I'm using the sharp sellswords because they scale with dexterity, and they have a regular AR of 362, but when I buff them with blessed weapon, that AR jumps all the way up to 389, which is all physical damage, and that's pretty beast for a dual wield weapon, especially one with a combo such as this. I'm using the Canvas Talisman to buff my weapon because it actually has the highest spell buff with 35 Faith. Well, it was tied with the Cleric's one, but whatever. And the Canvas Talisman has the best poise according to a lot of people, so I haven't actually tested that out, but I thought why not use it. I'm using the Blessed Cestus for its HP regeneration capabilities, and my armor set is the Lothric Knight Helm, the Black Hand Armor, and the Ring Knight Gauntlets and Leggings. I'm using the Life Ring +3 to further maximize my HP. Again, I'm using the Ring of Favor +3 for the same reason, but it also gives me extra endurance and extra equipment load, so that's a bonus. You already know why I'm using the Sun Princess Ring. And finally, I'm using the Pontiff's Left Eye to regenerate 30 HP per second when I actually get a combo off, which is fairly often, I'm not gonna lie. And I'm just amazed that all these things stack together to regenerate so much HP. This build has been pretty amazing, guys, but that's pretty much it for the stats and the equipment. Let me know what you guys think of the video in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, then like the video. It really helps out my channel. I'm also doing a live PvP with all my subscribers this Monday. I'm pretty sure I'm going to start it around 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I'm just going to go as late as I want to stay up, just because I want to PvP with all you guys. You guys are all bros, and I know you love the PvP videos, so I want you guys to be a part of that. It'll be extremely fun to talk with you, and to fight each of you. I'll probably do 3v3s to start off with when there's a ton of you watching and want to fight, but as the night goes on and everybody starts going to bed, depending on your time zones, if it starts dying down and there's less of us playing, we can even maybe do 2v2s or 1v1s depending on how many people are waiting around to play. I want everybody to keep playing. That's the entire point, right? So we'll most likely be doing 3v3s most of the time. Just check my channel because I am going to post it in the upcoming stream sections. I'll probably do that today, so it should be up there fairly soon. So I hope to see you guys all there. And as always, thank you guys for watching my videos. You guys are all bros. Chase the bro out.